804-13 Clearance from other buried facilities. Clearance of service conduits from other buried utilities shall be 12 inches minimum for commercial service installations, and for residential service installations random lay will be permissible. Depth of trench shall be section 800, underground service in apartment complexes 95 coordinated with CPS Energy's customer service representative to assure minimum clearances are maintained. 804-14 CPS Energy inspections. The service trench and conduit installation must be inspected by a CPS Energy inspector prior to backfilling the trench. If flowable fill encasement is required, an inspection must be made before pouring the flowable fill and after the flowable fill has been poured. City inspectors or other AHJ inspectors do not perform these inspections. To schedule an inspection, customer may contact the CPS Energy customer service representative or refer to helpful numbers listed on the inside front cover page. Note 1. Where communication utilities are approved to share trench with CPS Energy, a second inspection may be required where flowable fill is interrupted to install such utilities. Note 2. CPS Energy shall not accept nor take ownership of conduits until after service lateral has been installed. 804-15 Backfill provisions. Materials used to backfill a trench shall be clean and free of sharp objects. Customer shall be responsible for backfilling service lateral conduits in accordance with CPS Energy specifications. 805 Service lateral conductors and load. CPS Energy will furnish, install, and maintain the service lateral conductors to apartment buildings. Each building will be supplied by one service lateral at one point, unless otherwise permitted by CPS Energy in accordance with Section 200, refer to definition of building. 805 1 Conductor and Conduit Schedule. A conductor and conduit schedule shall be issued by the CPS Energy customer service representative that will specify the quantity and size of conduits and conductors required for each service lateral run. 805 2 Termination of service lateral conductors, point of delivery. CPS Energy shall terminate the service lateral conductors onto properly sized and listed terminals or devices furnished by customer at one of the metering or service equipment locations outlined in A through E below. A. Modular metering equipment. Line side of customer furnished and installed modular metering equipment. Modular metering equipment shall be approved by CPS Energy as meeting CPS Energy standards and specifications. Customer shall coordinate the review and approval of modular metering equipment prior to purchase with the CPS Energy customer service representative, refer to Section 1800. B. Independent main disconnecting device. Line side of customer furnished and installed main service disconnecting means, device, installed ahead of auxiliary gutter supplying metering equipment. The customer's main disconnecting means shall be provided with lockable and sealable means for use by CPS Energy. C. Step bus auxiliary gutter. Directly on bus within customer furnished and installed step bus auxiliary gutter meeting CPS Energy standards and specifications. Step bus gutter shall be provided with lockable and sealable means for use by CPS Energy where installed ahead of CPS Energy metering equipment. Note: step bus gutter is required any time service lateral conductors or any one set of service entrance conductors exceed parallel 350 kcm conductors or single 500 kcm conductors. D. Junction/pull box, underground installations. Directly to customers' service entrance conductors within junction box required by CPS Energy ahead of an auxiliary wire gutter. The junction box shall be sized and installed in accordance with Figure 802 and shall be provided with lockable and sealable means for use by CPS Energy due to unmetered conductors. Junction box and auxiliary gutter shall be furnished and installed by customer. Exception: junction box is not required ahead of auxiliary wire gutters serving duplex installations where gutters have minimum dimensions of 16 inches, h, x 8 inches, d, by appropriate length required to extend under each meter socket. E. self-contained meter socket or instrument transformer enclosure. For 1 meter installations on the line side of an individual self-contained meter socket or at the load side of current transformers where required, refer to section 1800. Note: CPS Energy shall first approve one of the above locations and shall designate location as the pod. 806 Service entrance conductors. Customer is responsible for furnishing and installing all service entrance conductors on the load side of the pod as outlined in Article 805 to 806 1 size. Service entrance conductors shall have sufficient ampacity to carry the load as determined by the NEC and other applicable codes, but shall not be smaller than number 8 AWG copper or number 6 AWG aluminum. Conductor sizes and quantities shall not exceed those allowed for meter sockets or other CPS Energy metering equipment. 806 2 Identification. Customer shall clearly and permanently identify the grounded, neutral, conductor, S, at all equipment locations and before CPS Energy connects the service lateral, refer to section 400. 807 Approved meter locations. Refer to figure 801, all metering equipment shall be installed on the exterior of building or structure at a location approved by the CPS Energy and in accordance with section 1800. Customer shall provide CPS Energy an approved space on the building wall or structure for metering equipment, refer to figure 802. Exception 1. Customer may enclose CPS Energy meters in meter closets located on outside walls of the building. The design of the closets shall have prior approval from CPS Energy's customer service representative. Meter closets shall be constructed so as to provide the required working clearances about electrical metering and service equipment, refer to section 1800. Exception 2. CPS Energy will review proposed designs where special circumstances may require the use of meter rooms within the building for location of multiple metering equipment. Where CPS Energy approves such designs, customer shall be responsible for that portion of service conduits under the building or structure. Service conduits under the building or structure shall be installed as required to be considered outside of the building and shall terminate within 4 feet upon entering CPS Energy approved electric meter rooms. CPS Energy may require customer to install spare conduits and to locate meter rooms on exterior walls as close as possible to transformer poles, refer to definition of conductors considered outside of building. Note 1. In all cases, customer shall furnish typical meter loop drawings that shall indicate disconnect device ratings, conduit and wire sizes at all points, meter socket ampere ratings, gutter sizes, grounding electrode connections, and the building, S, served by the typical design. Note 2. Modular metering shall have prior approval from CPS Energy's Electric Service Standards section and meet minimum CPS Energy specifications. Manufacturer's specifications shall be submitted for modular metering equipment including associated service disconnects indicating the manufacturer's name and the equipment model/catalog designation with line-side lug specifications. Note 3. Customer shall not install single-phase meter sockets and modular metering equipment on the same apartment complex. See the following figures in the specification manual. Figure 801 Typical electric distribution in apartment complex. Figure 802 Underground service and metering in apartment complexes and similar multiple occupancy buildings. Figure 803 Underground service from overhead facilities.